right. The best game you've never played. So I played Dragon Quest. I don't remember which one. For Lordy's birthday. What was it, like 4 years ago? 3 years ago? But apparently this is the best game I've never played. Sentinel of Starry Skies. Did you send this, Lordy? You did.
Yes. I spent a lot of time on this as a child.
So you sent this.
That my original one broke. As a result, some of my favourite games and the ones I feel most nostalgic.
Carmen gifted a tier 1 sub to Lordy. Lordy, thank Carmen. Carmen, thank you.
I was playing actual good games like Pokemon Diamond, Mario Kart, and Dragon Quest IX.
So Dragon Quest IX, what was the one I played for your birthday?
Queen of Game 6 has made Lordy Assassin an honorary ninja.
What was the one I played for your birthday? Thank you, Carmen. Dragon Quest 1 is the one I played. Okay. Dragon Quest 9. And you played 11 when it was on Game Pass. Gotcha. 11 was pretty good. 11 was pretty good.
Sentinels of Starry Skies is a Japanese role-playing game in which you play as a celestial or angel and are tasked with retrieving figs from the mortal world so that you can enter the realm of the Almighty.
Okay.
I knew none of this back in about 2008 and just got the game because my best friend had it. This might explain why very little thought has been put into my main character. He's a minstrel class, which we'll get into a bit later. He's got massive bright purple spiky hair, and his name is...
Damn, look at those pixels, bruh.
This incredible name by reversing my own name, realizing Edudge sounded terrible. So I took the E to the end, and then I got rid of it completely.
Akira Toriyama helped make these games. He designed the characters. Oh, nice.
Video games. So,
I want to buy Pokemon Diamond, bro. We're in a crazy era where it's like Pokemon something.
And you gain a substance called
I don't even know what Pokemon we're on anymore.
You need to give the benevolescence to the
Yggdrasil or whatever. Yeah, that
tree, so it can grow massive golden figs. This apparently means the Celestians can then travel to the realm of the Almighty. However, a mysterious force knocks all the figs off the tree and scatters them across the world.
Scarlet and Violet. That's what we're on right now?
Directly into a waterfall and then awaken without any wings. You have to convince a very annoying fairy who's comparable to their
Hey, listen!
Zelda that you're a Celestian, and then you agree to help her fix her magical flying train.
The era that Ash is not 10 anymore. Yeah. I don't even think you play as Ash anymore. You play as some random character now.
Patty needs help, so you go to a place called the Hexagoon and find this
Hexagoon
cow, which is actually the first boss of the game. You save Patty by killing the cow, and then find out she's going to a town called Stornoway. So you venture out and fight a load of slimes and cucumbers with spears along the way. The fights in Dragon Quest are turn-based, and you can level abilities depending on your class to learn new moves.
Oh, that's cool.
Stornoway, you find out Patty runs an inn, which includes all the crafting you'll ever do, recruitment of new characters to add to your team, and wonderful...
You never played as Ash?
Which allows you to visit friends' worlds.
I guess you didn't. That's absolutely right.
My first
I didn't even think about it.
Warrior named Quantum. Whoa, what a cool name! I know, I thought of it myself. Warriors deal a lot of damage, however they're really slow and they always attack last. The second character was a martial artist called Karatan, which again is a very...
This man played the hell out of this game, bro.
And he's really
you own 2 copies of this?
First. My last
How much is it worth, though?
Called Eric, who, as you'd imagine, uses spells. I don't know why, but for some reason I hate Eric. I've always hated him, and honestly I have no idea why, but look at him. So eventually he got replaced by a gladiator called
BogBoy,
who only uses his fist and just runs up and punches everything. But this wasn't for a while, so Eric travelled with us.
You can play as Ash in the ROM hack. Wow.
Following on with the story, after getting to...
Well, you play as the guy that looks like Ash, right?
The White Knight,
one separately and one on a chip. Cheap as hell? Really? It's not worth anything. Holy crap. Eventually it will be. Just save it until then.
Which contains another boss called...
Sell it for bukus of money.
Be a mixture between Medusa and Batman. After defeating her, you can return to Stornoway, talk to the king, and unlock something called the Crackpot, which is Dragon Quest's answer to the crafting table. Only it's 1,000 times more complicated. The alchemy in this game is ridiculous. You can make some very good weapons such as the Inferno Blade with relative ease by just collecting items from around the world. However, to make any of the god tier equipment requires hours of searching dungeons for rare drops of particular items, and that only creates the components, and they have to be combined with other rare loot.
I'll keep it just because I want it.
Combined with more rare loot, So my tactic was just to forge the best equipment I could using the wiki before I lost track of what I needed and just gave up. Unfortunately, at this point, you still don't have enough benevolence to fix the magical flying train. So you travel to Coffinwell. Sadly though, everyone who lives there has the plague. In an attempt to find out what's causing the bubonic plague, you speak to the town's resident medic, Dr. Flegming, who says the curse is emanating from a dungeon outside town, called the Quarantomb. After battling through mushrooms and slugs, you'll reach the fourth boss of the game, Raging Contagion, who looks like Michael Raging on acid. This guy is so annoying to kill, because he just constantly...
Some of the story in this game is hella dark. Yeah, I believe that.
When you finally defeat him, the curse is lifted, and you can now fix the magical flying train.
Nice.
Fly back up to the Celestial Observatory, only to discover the massive golden figs have gone. Your main character starts praying to the Yggdrasil tree, but he prays so hard that he falls asleep and has a fever dream about a guy who wants to destroy the world or something. It's probably fine. You then set out to find the massive golden figs.
Oh my god.
That, like Will Smith's genie, they can grant...
This is Dragon Quest 9.
And sometimes they completely disfigure the person who tries to use them. You also learn Zoom at this point.
I didn't remember which one it was.
Fast travel, and it's very useful considering the size of the map. The annoying fairy then takes you back to the real world, this time to Waltrade's Abbey, where you can change your class or vocation to learn new abilities that wouldn't be unlockable otherwise.
Oh, okay.
There are 6 basic classes in Dragon Quest 9. Warrior, Quantum, Priest, which is a healer, Mage, which is Eric, Martial Artist, which is like Jackie Chan, Thief, which is really good for alchemy because you can learn a move that steals items from enemies.
That's pretty cool.
Minstrel, which in reality would be someone who plays a flute and dances around, but in this game it's a pretty OP class. And there's also some classes that are unlockable by doing specific quests later in the game. This includes Gladiator, Sage, Paladins, which are very good, Ranger, Armamentalist, which I didn't even realise existed, and Luminary. However, when you reach Waltrade's Abbey for the first time,
you try to make one of those.
You realise that the guy who allows you to change vocations...
Been years since I played that. I've never played this one.
Trades isn't there.
I never had a DS.
Someone gave him a shiny fruit, and he's been missing since.
I had a Game Boy.
You then go to the tower.
Then I had a Game Boy Color.
Up each level, fighting monsters along the way.
I played like Red Pokemon. I played all the Pokemon.
Has in fact turned into Master of Nu'un. After fighting, he comes to his senses and explains that eating the massive golden fig made him evil. Anyway, continuing down south, we find Port Laffin.
Basically, Coffinwell, the doctor's wife, has the disease and he's working his ass off to help her out, but the thing is, after defeating the Raging Contagion, she's dead and the doc goes into a deep depression. Holy crap.
When you return to Port Laffin at night,
yeah, I never had a DS, unfortunately.
Oh, Jonah's actually possessed.
I'd had one. I'd still has her DS.
Just have telepathic connection with a giant whale. Then you realise Jonah is missing, so you set out in search of her, and after battling millions of crabs, you find the mayor of the town trying to use Jonah to control Leviathan. This doesn't seem to be working very well. You have to defeat Leviathan.
Wow, he tried to eat him.
Battle, and afterwards, it turns out that Leviathan is actually being possessed by Jonah's dad, and that he found a massive golden fig out in the ocean, and then accidentally merged himself with the god of the sea. Anyway, you wake up the next morning in the mayor's house and decide to set sail on a boat, eventually landing at Slurry Key, a small village with absolutely nothing to do in it. Heading almost to Doorbridge, you discover that a trader passing through the town gave a fig.
So the golden figs are bad? They have to be.
Vapamax to a man who lives in Zero.
I have 3 I need to fix. Holy crap. How much does it cost to fix those?
You meet a talking sign that tells you the man who has the fig carved the entire town out of stone. Uh-oh, an earthquake. Oh no, Garth Goyle is in town, and he's incredibly easy to kill. After Garth Goyle is dead, you head back inside and find that the guy with the fig has passed away, and while on his deathbed, he wished for a guardian to protect the town he spent a lifetime carving. So
they're not evil, they just like grant wishes?
The guy that you just killed.
Bad for regular humans, yeah.
Everyone goes silent, but the slime thanks you anyway and gives you the fig. Continuing on to Blue.
I was gonna say, it seems like they make people crazy.
Who used a large glowing fruit to cure herself of a life-threatening illness. Upon speaking to her, she seems incredibly rude, and the guards inform you that recently she's gone a bit weird in the head. The next day, news spreads that
she's got a fig
and taken to a cave that's very creatively named Bad Cave. Upon further inspection of the castle graveyard, you find a ghost next to one of the graves, and it turns out the real Marion is dead. And the Marion everyone knows today is a doll that's gone mental on
marionette
after being fed one by Marion's old servant. When searching for the Marion doll, you meet the kidnappers, but Marion has escaped from the cell where she was kept. After a long
Garth Goyle was annoying because he was the first boss that can attack twice.
And it's another boss battle. After defeating the spider, the doll gives you the fig, and you're also rewarded with your very own boat. This
you get a boat.
Pretty much go anywhere you want next in the game. But I think what most people did, and what I did, was head to Gleba.
Gleba.
The
Why?
most useful thing about Gleba is that if you go to a certain spot in the desert, you can find an enemy called a golden golem, which anyone who's played Dragon Quest before knows is basically just a gold farm. At this point, you may have noticed a bit of a pattern with the stories from each town. Everywhere you go, someone or something seems to have gone mental on Fig.
Yeah.
You have to defeat them to break the curse, and then you obtain the Fig.
Right.
Gleba's no different. The queen of Gleba is sad that her pet lizard has run away, so she sends you out to find it. On the way to finding the lizard, you'll also find a Fig, and when returning both Fig and lizard to the queen, you find out she plans to have a bath with the lizard. This would be weird to begin with, but she also plans to chop up the Fig and float the pieces in the bath with her. So unsurprisingly, what happens is that the lizard bites a piece of Fig, goes mental on Fig, and you have to fight it. Once you've beaten the lizard and it's returned to
How much does DS repair cost? $65. Case or hinge damage. Case replacement, $45. Charging port replacement, $65 game reader replacement. It's actually not bad.
With me because not only am I losing my voice, I also don't know how to pronounce any of this. But as far as I'm aware, this is what happens. After talking to the chief of Batsarig, Batkarn, and his assistant Sarantsatsral, a monster attacks the village. Sarantsatsral offers you help in finding the Fig if you kill the beast, which turns out to just be a baboon. The baboon runs off, and you're asked to go with the chief of Batsarig's son, Batsarig, to hunt it down. However, Batsarig tells you he's actually friends with the baboon, and that Sarantsatsral is the real monster in disguise. You then go on an adventure to find grass, which will reveal the monster's true form, and when you return successfully with the grass, Sarantsatsral transforms into Lastastenaras.
Oh my goodness.
Figured out just now is Sarantsatsral backwards. Anyway, you defeat her, you get the Fig, and
I never get past this place with the stupid names. I got stuck at the boss.
Situated on the
I can't imagine why.
Upon arriving, you're assumed to be detectives and are told of several disappearances of students attending the school. Again, you can see where this is going. You meet Fred and his friends who say they've been seeing ghosts and know how to communicate.
I mean, you just saw the ghost a second ago.
Fred then becomes possessed by a ghost and jumps off a roof before scurrying away. You end up exploring an abandoned part of the school before finding Fred and his friends being taught by a ghost called Cisternivus Swinedimple. He then rages at you and turns into the Dreadmaster, and as you'd expect,
the Dreadmaster. The names in this game are ridiculous.
That's all the Figs collected. The only thing to do now is head back to the observatory and return them safely to the tree. Uh-oh, watch out! The Gitish Empire are here! A group of evil things made up of a huge owl and a dragon that were thought to have been wiped out years ago. They attack you and you fall from the sky again, this time waking up in a small town called Wormwood Creek. Upon speaking to the mayor of Wormwood Creek, you find out about a dragon called Greynal, who is said to be able to defeat the evil dragon, Barbarous, that you just encountered.
I did like this game with cheat before the thing got stuck elsewhere, but legitimately I couldn't get past the stupid name place.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
That's not right at all. A ghost called Serena opens up the bow hole for you, and after travelling through the hole, you find a bow. You battle a boss called Gadrongo to obtain the bow. And when fired, a bridge of light appears which takes you to the Upover. When you enter the Upover, you're told that Greynal lives atop a volcano called the Magmaroo, and when you find him at the top, he attacks you, suspecting you're part of the Gitish Empire. After defeating him, he refuses to help you, which is kind of fair enough.
Fair enough.
But once you find out the town of Upover has been attacked by Gitish Empire scouts, he gives you some cool armor and lets you ride.
Actually, a lot. I did play this game with cheats.
And then the best cutscene in the entire
Wormwood is the furthest I got with cheats.
Is defeated by Greynal.
Okay.
But then he isn't, and he charges up a massive ball which he aims at the Upover. Greynal lets you off his back, and then acts as a meat shield for the Upover, supposedly dying in the process.
Oh wow.
You wake up in prison. But not just any prison, because this prison has a free healing station that anyone can use. And not only that, but it's very easy to escape. All you have to do is start a fight, shut off one of the generators, and you're out. To make it slightly harder, you then have to battle the Gorum Hog, one of the lieutenants of the Gitish Empire, and at this point I should probably explain exactly what the Gitish Empire is. So 300 years prior to this story, a guy called King Godfrey and his army attempted to take over the world by allying with the evil dragon Barbarous, believing themselves superior to the rest of mankind. It's like if Hitler had a dragon. Greynal, the good dragon, with the help of the rest of the world, eventually defeated them, which is why everyone's confused about how they've returned. The Gitish Empire has 3 lieutenants, a pig, who we just defeated, a cat, and an owl, but we'll get to those in a bit.
What?
The person who you escape prison with is actually the captain of the magical flying train. and he takes you to the observatory. You can now assemble all of the massive golden figs and make your way to the realm of the Almighty. Here you'll find out that a dark force has resurrected the Gitish Empire and seeks to destroy the world. Therefore, it falls to you to save it. But where could the Gitish Empire be hiding? Maybe in Port Laffan with the big whale, or maybe at All Trades Abbey, or maybe this massive evil castle. So you descend to
Probably the
Palace,
massive
and it
evil
turns out your
castle.
suspicions were right. At
Yeah.
the entrance stands Hootingham Gore, and no joke, this guy is impossible.
Hootingham
I
Gore.
hate this owl.
An owl.
What he does is hide behind these knights, and then he just completely wrecks you when you can't hit him. And it's annoying because when I looked him up, it describes him as not very difficult. So after decades,
I hate hearing
against
that.
red dragons outside the palace, battling over and over and over again, I gave up and got my friend who was level 99 to come over to my world and kill it. After
Nice.
you explore the grounds of the castle and eventually run
Mimics.
into the second lieutenant, Goresby Purvis. I found him pretty easy to
Goresby
beat, especially compared
Purvis?
to the owl. However,
A
his
cat.
strength is that he gets a lot of critical hits, whereas I had a shield that blocked almost all critical hits, so... Finally, you battle the leader of the Gitish Empire, King Godwyn, who is also surprised
Godwyn?
not much of a
Really?
problem. But wait, he's transformed into the Basilisk of Harry Potter! And now he's almost impossible to beat. The main tactic I found was to use a move called Egg On, which ups your character's attack. If you use this over and over to the point where he does a ridiculous amount of damage, you can just rinse and repeat until he
Nice.
finally dies. Now the Gitish Empire is seemingly destroyed, it's time to find out what was behind their return. So you travel down to an area below Gittingham Palace called Oblietta. After finding your way through the dungeon, you discover a prison cell.
Oblietta.
A
What the
mysterious
hell?
man is chained up in the middle, who you learn is called Corvus. You free him, and he reveals that he was the one who revived King Godwyn and the rest of the Gitish Empire. He also does this really creepy thing with his head, and you're launched into a battle with him. However, it's impossible to attack him, as he was once a high-ranking Celestian, and the law of Celestians means you can't attack those who are ranked above you. He then KOs you and flies away with your boy Barbarous before a ghost called Serena turns up and explains who Corvus actually is. She tells you how Corvus was injured 300 years ago in the war between the Gitish Empire and the Celestians. She took care of him in the town of Wormwood Creek. However, when the Gitish Empire soldiers came to hunt him down, he decided to go out and face them. Serena convinced him he was still too unwell, and that instead, he should hide in a nearby cave. But, when they reached the cave, Corvus explained he couldn't just sit there and watch the town get destroyed, so he asked Serena to stay in the cave while he went to protect the town. Serena finally allowed him to go, but not before eating a special healing medicine. The medicine actually puts him to sleep, and Serena explained she couldn't allow him to fight, fearing his own safety. Unfortunately though, Serena's father has traded the safety of the village for information on Corvus's location, and Gitish army troops find them. Therefore, Corvus thought Serena had betrayed him by sedating him. Corvus was then taken away to be locked underneath Gittingham Palace, while Serena and her father were executed. While locked away for hundreds of years, Corvus grew to hate all mortals because of what he thought they'd done to him, becoming more powerful in dark magic as each year passed, and eventually being able to resurrect King Godwyn, tasking him with destroying the mortal world.
Wow. That's
The
quite
only
the
person
story.
who can stop him now is you, and hearing he plans to turn the realm of the Almighty into his evil fortress, you go to the Yggdrasil tree for help. The Yggdrasil tree can now talk, and tells you that in order to be able to attack Corvus, you need to give up your immortality. And so in return, the Yggdrasil tree draws benevolence from all over the world, and creates the ultimate massive golden fig. Once you eat the fig, you'll now become mortal and can travel to the realm of the Almighty. When you get there though, it turns out Corvus has already converted it into his evil lair, and to get to him, you'll have to complete a whole series of boss fights. This part of the game is like the Elite Four in the Pokemon League.
Right.
First, you must battle the Gorham Hog, Hootingham Gore, and Goresby Purvis again, except this time, they're all mildly easier. Then it's up to Corvus, who is very surprised at the fact you can hit him, and so goes into a cocoon to hide. Then he realizes that you could just attack the cocoon, so he calls Barbarous to his side as the fourth member of the Elite Four. But even though Barbarous may be able to destroy entire villages in one blast, he isn't that good in a turn-based role-playing game format, so you defeat him with relative ease. The one thing he does do though is give Corvus time to morph into a beautiful butterfly. Psych, he's actually the devil, but green and real. This is it. This is the final battle. What it all comes down to. Corvus will use his best attacks such as vaping, bitch slap, cold vaping, and Jackie Chan style flying kick. But eventually, after a long and arduous battle, he'll be defeated. Even though you defeated him, Corvus will still try and go Super Saiyan and destroy the world, but just in time Serena turns up, explains what really happened when Corvus was captured, and gives him a glow stick that turns him back into a normal angel.
Oh
they then
my
shoot off into
God.
the stars together.
I hate endings
transport
like
back
that,
to the
man.
observatory. It turns out that this whole time the Yggdrasil was actually a woman pretending to be a tree. She congratulates you on finishing the game. The angels fly up
That's
to the
odd.
realm of the Almighty. You're given the keys to the magical flying train, and the game ends. So why
Wow.
do I love this game? As I said before, it does have a strong nostalgia factor, but much more than that, I just love the style of it. Because although the
Yeah, it sounds-
quite a generic narrative of good versus evil,
Yeah.
the unique characters, bosses, and locations keep you invested in the game and immersed in the world. I also think the elements of customization in the game, such as
Yeah, it was clarity,
create
yeah.
each member of your party and kit them out with whatever outfit
Very cool.
you want, from tryhard to completely stupid, helps you become attached to your characters so that each battle becomes tense because you really don't want to die. It's like
Right.
naming your dog in Minecraft and
Yeah.
it falls in lava. Another great thing about the game is just how many abilities there are. Just my main character alone could eventually learn moves like Gigagash with the sword, as well as moves with fans, whips, and also magic moves such as Kaswoosh. You can even unequip everything and level up your fists.
There's a lot of story he
Using my
didn't
favourite move in the
he didn't
entire
speak
game,
about. I
Claptrap.
can't imagine.
Last but not least, the music is amazing in this game. I've been throwing in some of the pieces in the background throughout the video, but if you want to encompass them,
I kind of figured that was some of the
all
music.
you have to do is listen to the main theme. I'm going to let it play out the video, but thanks for watching. This was quite different to anything
Very cool.
before. Probably going to be much longer than anything I've
It was a
made.
good video.
During recording these voice lines,
You did
I
a good
actually
job.
lost my voice. I had
BogBoy.
to take like a whole day's break and then come back. So if my voice sounds a bit strained at any point, I can only apologise. Please subscribe or I'll send Eric round to Kaswoosh your house.
Ah.
Okay guys, I'm just going to hit the zoom and just tell
But he
what-
hates Eric.
Thanks for watching.
That was good. I already know the theme to Dragon Quest. Yeah, that was nice. That was a good video. I like it. So yeah, that was my reaction to the best game you've never played, Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of Starry Skies. I actually think the game looks pretty good. It definitely, it goes through a generic game play, like good versus evil, like he was talking about. But I think it's more interesting than that, to be completely honest, because of all the twists and turns that the game brings up. That's pretty cool.